Take you to court? Why, I didn't know you felt that way. This chain of events started almost 20 years ago, and involves myself and a notoriously snooty national real estate agency. There is a bit of background leading to the MC incident, so please bear with me. This all occurred in Queensland, Australia. I once rented a property through an agency from 2004-2006. Due to my ex-partner's explosive and violent temper, we had been handed an eviction notice. There was damage to the property that was unfixed at the time we were evicted. Damage that was in the form of fist and hammer-sized holes in walls, etc. We obviously did not receive any of the bond deposit back, as the repair costs more than absorbed the amount. There was also an added sum of about $1,700 extra to cover the rest of the costs incurred repairing the damage. This amount was forwarded to a debt collections agency. This collection amount was in both of our names, as we had jointly been on the lease agreement. I was not upset at the agency, they were just doing their job by being a good advocate for the owner of the property at this stage. Taking the bond and charging us for the repair was standard and not nasty, vindictive or overkill in the slightest. My anger came later. Although I must admit I was a bit miffed to be duly held financially responsible for the damage caused by my ex, but due to the nature of the joint lease not much could be legally done. I was just grateful we had parted ways not long after. A few years post-eviction I wanted to get my life more organized in many areas and tie up any loose ends that would impede me moving forward. A clean slate, so to speak. So the debt issue came first. After many phone calls, and some paperwork exchange, plus an escalation or two, the debt collection agency finally agreed to split the $1,700 damages bill between the ex and myself. Now I could pay off half and not be held accountable for his portion any longer. This had to be done without his consent, as he refused. I'm unsure as to why, possibly hoping I would pay the whole lot to rebuild my credit rating, or most likely just to be annoying. Once I had paid off my portion of the collector's debt, I thought I was done with the whole business and the black mark against my name. Not so, unfortunately. It turned out that the state I lived in had a blacklist that real estate agencies and lessors could add tenants' names to. It's called the TICA list. All they needed was proof that the tenant had behaved in a bad enough manner regarding renting of a property to warrant being listed. Due to the fact we had been evicted, the damage, and also owed arrears to a debt agency for repairs, we unfortunately qualified. Being on this list made it almost impossible to rent, especially via a real estate agency. After speaking extensively with the RTA, which is a government agency, I found I was definitely eligible to have my name removed from the list, so I started taking action for this to happen. I was able to demonstrate good faith by having paid for half of the damages. It also went in my favor that my partner was abusive, and there was legal evidence of this fact. However, I was told the only way to have my name removed was by the real estate agency. So I approached them and asked for them to do so. They were very helpful initially. If I was able to show them proof that the debt was settled, they were happy to remove my name. At least 7 years had elapsed by this point, so it was considered punishment enough. At the time, after 5 years, your name is usually removed from the TICA list. However, this company apparently kept tabs on who they had added to the list, and when the person's 5 years expired, they just added him again. Dirty tactics indeed. Obviously I had been re-added. So I provided relevant documents to the agency and was assured my name would be removed as soon as they located my file. This apparently had been stored away in archives, as much time had passed since I rented with them. I was told this would take a week maximum. All good. So I called a week later, and was told to wait another week, still in a kind, helpful and cordial tone. I called again after that time and was told to wait, you guessed it, another week, and this time I detected a tone of frost in the reply. So I called back more than a week later just to show patience, and now was spoken to in a very haughty manner. I was informed that my request was bothersome. Being so because what I asked was not important, and finding my file was a waste of their staff time. They would call me when they got around to it. I expressed how important it was personally, and then heard the magic words, almost verbatim, "If you want us to do this so badly, we will only be forced to help you if ordered. Perhaps you should take us to court if you can't be patient. Goodbye. String me along. Okay, game on." I had a feeling this was all done to avoid removing my name, as they had found my file. Also that they were stalling, and wanted me to stay blacklisted. But I wasn't backing down without a fight, and so I took their advice. I filed against them to have the matter seen in a small claims court. It cost me $35, which would be reimbursed by the agency if I won. I didn't have anything to lose and I wanted him to know that not all people will hold indefinitely, or continue to be unjustly punished for longer than fair. It was listed to appear in about 4 days from filing. As soon as they received the court date paperwork, I was suddenly bombarded with phone calls. How dare I take the agency to court when they were working their hardest to find my file and help me? Doing my best to sound apologetic for taking their advice, I thanked them for the suggestion, as it seemed there would now be a time frame at least for the matter to be dealt with. On the day of court I had 3 sheets of paper as my sole evidence. A statement showing that repair bill had been paid and there was no finances outstanding. A statement from the RTA that I was eligible to have my name taken off the TICA list. And lastly a document stating it was at the behest of the real estate agency to remove my name and that they had no good reason not to. Not 1 but 2 agents for the company showed up to court. When it came before the judge, both parties had to give evidence if relevant. I handed in my 3 pages. Seeing them pass the judge a thick folder of paperwork, including photos of the property damage, was rather amusing considering they supposedly couldn't find my file when last requested. The judge asked them for a statement. They went on for a few minutes about why I didn't deserve to be removed, and justified their stance with the photos and prior rental history with them. All I had to reply was that I had paid for my share of the damage, that the damage was due to my abusive ex, and that I had made restitution as much as I could regarding the matter. With no money owing. The judge then asked why I had brought it to court. I explained that the company was dragging their feet removing my name when it was a simple matter, and it wasn't necessarily fair to do so. That I had called them repeatedly and waited while they found my, so hard to locate, paperwork that had somehow miraculously appeared when convenient. That being on the TICA list was harmful to my future chances at renting, and also that my name had been resubmitted after dropping off the list. The judge queried them why they had added my name again. They stated it was company policy. The judge expressed agreement with my stance. I had been punished enough, had made financial restitution, and now that my file had been located I was not to be blacklisted anymore. Case decided in my favor. Win. The real estate agency was given 48 hours to submit proof to the court, and a copy to myself, that I was now off the list. Also they had to pay for the $35 I spent taking them to court. The pair of agents walked out in a huff and were on the phone out in the hallway immediately after vacating the courtroom. I floated past them as I was on a justice high. As I got to the lifts I thanked them for coming and their sound advice in recommending court. Also that I was grateful for the bottle of wine they would be buying me with the $35 I was to be paid back. The look on their faces was priceless. Nothing better than the sweet satisfaction of getting exactly what you want. That was very well written and perfectly executed. Auntie Donna intensifies, ooh, Lukey, it's a $30 bottle of wine. Lovely read and malicious compliance, kudos. Is it legal for them to re-add you? Sounds like it isn't, or at least shouldn't be. Sometimes the tribunal comes through. Good on you. More people should follow your example. Same state, would love to know which agency. Although to be fair they're almost all crooks. Real estate property managers are all scum. The judge should have awarded punitive damages if they were able. Company policy to resubmit people is not good enough. Resubmission should require either compelling reason or new offenses. Ridiculous and abusive practices. Was a long story, but a fine read indeed. I enjoyed this story. Real nice ending. That company should be investigated to see how many other people are getting screwed for no reason. What about your emotional damages? I'm thinking at least $1,275. The judge queried them why they had added my name again. They stated it was company policy. You're the company. You made the policy. So I'll ask you again. That was beautiful, well done. This is one of the sweetest reads ever. I don't smoke but I need a cigarette after that. You should had received a penalty payout from the real estate company, sounds like garbage. Good luck. What benefit would they have by adding you to the list again? I think I'm missing something. They can prevent you from renting but can re-add you to the list after when you're about to fall off. How is that business practice legal? I had a feeling this was all done to avoid removing my name as they had found my file. Did you miss out at not? My ex had a problem with them being put on TICA. It was a mistake made by the real estate years earlier. They were also told to contact the original real estate to fix it up, but apparently the real estate closed or was bought by new owners and rebranded or something. They had no way of fixing it because of this. Probably got removed after a while, but like what the fuck lol. How dare you do as we told you? We told you that so that you would leave us alone, not bother us more. Actually, the list is there to protect landlords. Being a landlord, I am telling you, you should be on this list forever. Nobody wants people like you. Did you ever think about it? Who paid for your damages? You didn't care for 7 years. And you paid only 50%. Why? You signed this lease too. They should never accepted it only to pay 50%. And I think it is only fair to inform future landlords about crappy people. That you are really crappy is proved by this story here. You are bragging about how smart you are, but the loss and trouble the landlord has was never mentioned. Awesome. Fuck realtors, sometimes lol. If I ever recommended a customer take the company I work for you court, my head would be on a corporate spike. This wasn't very satisfying. In the end, the only person who was innocent in this had to waste time, energy and money just to get back to normal. All that, just to get back to square one. It pissed me off more than anything. Your ex should have been punished and so should the agency, but only you were punished. I'm so sorry, I didn't read the coupon. Coulda just said took agency to court and won. I hate you. Take my upvote. Great story. Worth the long paragraphs. Why do they care so much? How does it affect him to take your name off? I like thinking about the other person's perspective. They pull the file. They glance over the pictures. See shit destroyed. Debt collector filings. They don't read it fully. The person reviewing immediately hates her. These are the kind of people that ruin property for no reason, only to learn for the first time, in court, that all that wasn't even her, proven, and that it's everyone else's opinion that they were giving her shit for no reason. Good story. I enjoyed it. Point of inquiry. I am not familiar with the Australian judicial system, but I thought small claims courts were for financial dispute. In your case, you weren't asking for financial remedial, beyond the filing costs, but I don't think that can be used as a justification to file. It'd be a bit of circular reasoning. Is there something I am misunderstanding about small claims courts? I always thought it was for financial claims below a certain amount. Wow, that is a small victory. They wanted to destroy your future out of laziness. Where is the fat ass check for compensation? The $35 was just extra petty. I love it. Fuck real estate agents. And you wonder why there isn't more serial killers going after real estate companies more. Was it Doug Disher Real Estate? Scum of the earth rental agency. Rented from him twice in Brisbane. Never again. As a fellow QLder, I'm kinda curious to know which Raya this was. Ha. This is great. Good for you, and I bet you enjoyed that well-deserved wine. Nice one op. What bastards, eh? Great story, and I'm glad you're free of your abusive partner. Love how you kept rubbing it in that it was their idea. Nice of them to give you such helpful advice. Talk about service. LMFAO. I get the feeling Remax. Dunno why, never rented with. Perfect. What a rotten company. We're going to keep you on our blacklist for no real reason. Also, we can't find your file. Even though we were able to find it well enough to put you back on our blacklist for another 5 years after the first 5 expired. Obviously they have a computer system with records, because they are aware that you exist and have you on that blacklist. It sounds like an excuse to extort more money out of you. Seems so weird that they don't want to take your name off the list. Also, what the fuck, Australian court system sounds awesome. Only $35 to bring a case against a company and you go to court 4 days after filing. Wow. Efficient. My ex and I were evicted once because we couldn't pay our rent. Between his surgery, medical bills, and lowered hours at work. We were broke, so we, rightfully, lost the apartment. We had an eviction mark on our records and it was so incredibly hard to get an apartment after that. There is a reason it falls off your record after a while. Circumstances change. People should be allowed to prove themselves again. That agency is dirty rotten scoundrels for punishing people indefinitely. What? So they think people should be homeless forever because of a mistake? Worse, do they think the victim of abuse should also suffer? I wish they could be punished more. It cost them more than $35, as they likely had to consult an attorney and sent 2 staffers who had to waste their time trying to convince a judge not to rule against their company. And #X200B. Good job. I'm surprised you didn't ask for compensation for other damages, costs.